Before we begin, I invite you to gently close your ears and focus on what remains when all external sounds fade away. It's like sitting in a quiet room, and after a while, you notice a subtle ringing or hum beneath the silence. If you listen closely, you'll start to experience this soft, constant presence, something that feels like the very fabric of reality itself. In quantum physics, it's said that everything is connected at the most fundamental level, and that everything we see is just a manifestation of deeper, unseen energy. What you are hearing, or rather feeling, is that same energy, that same field of potential. This subtle ringing is what we call the sound of silence. It's not just an abstract concept or some external force. It's the very essence of you. Everything we discuss in this session and the ones to come will be about this sound of silence. It is not something separate or different from you. It is you. This exploration is about realizing that the sound of silence is your own inner being, your most fundamental nature, the stillness from which all life arises. You are that, the very presence behind everything. We are often told to be happy and at ease, because in reality, we are not attached to anyone or anything. If we are not attached, then the concept of bondage ceases to apply. The ultimate realization is that we are the universal witness, observing everything in existence. Everything that happens in the universe in any form, whether it is happiness or sorrow, is not separate from us. If we truly understand this concept, it can be difficult because we have been conditioned to believe that we are just our bodies with a name attached to them. This limitation causes us to think only within the confines of our physical existence, and we cannot imagine or perceive anything beyond this. Once we understand that we are more than just a body and that everything in existence is a part of us, a profound shift takes place. Our searching, our longing, and our desire for more or something different can cease. This state of realization is referred to as love because it means recognizing that we are connected to everything. In this realization, anyone, anywhere in the universe, experiencing anything, whether joy or pain, is experienced by us because we are not separate from them. There is only one universal witness to everything that happens, and this realization can dissolve the root cause of all suffering, that which is the illusion of separation. The idea that we are different from others, or that we are alone, feeds into our ego and perpetuates the sense of isolation. This is the root of all our problems, but if we realize that we are part of the larger whole, we can transcend this sense of separation. The analogy of the leaf and the tree is helpful in understanding this concept. A leaf may seem separate from the tree, but in reality, it is part of the tree. If the leaf understands its true nature, it can see the whole tree in itself, and the tree in itself. This understanding helps dissolve the feeling of separation. Similarly, when we think of ourselves as separate from the source of life, we create problems for ourselves. If we think we are separate from the divine or the essence of creation, we are left to believe that we must do something, become something, or acquire something to find fulfillment. But once we recognize that we are the entirety of creation, there is no longer a need to search. Wherever something happens, it is happening within us, and we are not separate from it. In this state of understanding, happiness becomes a natural experience, and we can feel joy not just in our loved one's happiness, but in the happiness of everyone. This is the true state of love, where we are connected with everything and everyone, from the smallest plant to the largest animal. We become the universal witness, transcending the limitations of individuality and realizing that our happiness is inherently tied to the happiness of the world. This state of being can bring true peace and freedom. By understanding the laws of the universe, we can transcend our mind's limitations and live in harmony with the natural order of things. The idea of dharma and adharma is central here, but it must be understood as the natural laws of creation, not as concepts tied to religion or societal rules. Dharma refers to the inherent laws governing the body and mind, and when we align ourselves with these laws, we find peace. If we violate these laws, whether through excess or deprivation, we experience discomfort and unease. For example, overeating or undereating, sleeping too much or too little, or comparing ourselves to others are all examples of actions that disrupt the natural harmony of our body and mind. These disruptions lead to problems like stress and disease. Understanding the appropriate balance in life is crucial, as everything boils down to perception. When we overcomplicate things with the concepts of good and bad, right and wrong, we lose sight of the natural order and its inherent simplicity. The mind is a powerful tool, but it can also become a source of confusion and conflict. Thoughts arise in the mind, and we identify with them as I. But if we examine this closely, we see that the I is not separate from the thought itself. When we are not thinking, there is no I. In deep sleep, for example, we do not have the sense of I because there are no thoughts. But when thoughts arise, we automatically associate them with the I. This is the illusion that keeps us trapped in the cycle of identification. Even actions that seem like they are being done by us, such as getting a tattoo, are not as personal as we think. The idea of I arises only when a thought occurs. Without the thought, there is no I. If we trace back the origin of any action, we can see that it was not initiated by us, but by previous thoughts and experiences. For example, the thought of getting a tattoo could only arise because we had seen a tattoo before. If we had never encountered the idea of a tattoo, it would not have entered our mind. This shows that our desires and actions are not entirely of our own making. They are shaped by the information and experiences we have been exposed to. This is why people in rural areas who have less information and fewer desires often experience less stress than those in cities where there is an abundance of information and desires. The more we know, the more we think we need, and the more stress and struggle we create for ourselves. By simplifying our thoughts and desires, and by recognizing that we are not separate from the whole of existence, we can find true peace and happiness. Understanding this universal truth is the key to freedom. We are not the doers, nor the receivers. We are simply witnesses to the unfolding of life. This realization can free us from the illusion of control and allow us to live in harmony with the natural flow of existence.